Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Well, today and this morning we would be doing something quite unusual that we haven't done here on Breakfast Central. Well, this morning we'll be looking at the drawing board this morning. And our focus, like I rightly said before the break, we'll be taking a look at the salary of an average civil servant who actually works in any government parastatal. Now, you are aware that the minimum wage is 70,000 Naira. I mean, we just put a little K there for you. And we'll be focusing on what 70,000 Naira can do for a civil servant. Now, let's look at seven areas, seven aspects of living. The first one would be transportation. Let's focus on the seven. Let's stay on the seven for now as we look at the seven. Transportation is the first one. The second one is food. And the third one is healthcare. Number four would be clothing. Let me see if I can go back. Yeah, there it is. The fifth one is shelter, accommodation. And then we'll also look at personal effects and, most importantly, savings. Now, take your time, join me, and let's go to the drawing board very quickly. Let's see what that can do for us. So let's focus on the first one. If we are actually looking at number one, transportation, and there are very, clear signs that a lot of persons spend nothing more than 1,500 per day to go to work and also come back. And this is the reality versus the current economy that we have today. So if you spend 1,500 to go to work, multiply that by 5, and nothing more, you'll be spending a whole lot just to go to work and also come back, okay? If you put all of that together, you know how much that will be. So you can bring out your calculators, do that with me, and then you see how much you would spend in 5 days. Now multiply that 4 weeks. What would that give you? Well, if you're thinking about it very carefully, let's actually go straight to our calculators. I like to work with you very quickly. So 1,500 times 5 gives you 7,500 Naira. Multiply that by 4 weeks. So let's see the calculation on the screen as well. So you're going to spend nothing less than about 7,500 in a week. And in total, you're spending 30,000 Naira for just transportation. How much is the minimum wage again? 70,000 Naira, right? So you do the math. 70 minus 30. How much do you have left? You have 40,000 Naira left to spend. Now that's just for transportation. Transport, nothing more. Let's go to food, which is the second one, very quick. Remember, we're looking at seven aspects. Food is the next one. Recently, it's been found out that if you're going to eat a meal, especially if you're at the office, you may be spending nothing less than about 2,000 Naira. The mama put that we used to know, where you can get rice for like 100 Naira, 200 Naira, now sells for 300 for one spoon, up until 600 for 2 spoons. So give or take, you must eat in the morning when you get to work. You must also eat later on in the afternoon. You may be spending 2,000 Naira a day just to eat. And that's just for food. So if we go back to our drawing board, if we say food, you should be looking at 2,000 Naira, right? So 2,000 Naira for food times, let's not say 5 days, let's say 7 days, because you have to eat all day, every week. And that gives you a total of how much? Well, let's put that calculation for you on the screen so you can see it as well. From my drawing board to the screen. So that gives you 14,000 Naira. Now, 14,000 times 4 weeks. I'm going to join you again as you bring out your calculator. So 14,000 times 4. That gives you a total of 56,000 bucks. Our drawing board is starting to get full. You understand where I'm going? Okay. All right. So 56,000 Naira. Now, if you minus 56,000 Naira from 70,000 Naira, how much would be left? Let's quickly move on very quickly and go to what's next as we go to another aspect. That is healthcare. This is very important. Now, healthcare, we do hear that in government hospitals, consultation fee just to see a doctor to check on you, do the basic checkups, has risen from 3,500 now to 5,000 Naira. We're not talking about medications yet. As you see, we put a question mark there. So let's just say you're paying 20,000 Naira for medications per month. That's if you don't have a very serious illness. So 20,000 is what we put there just to peg it in a month. We know it could be more. Malaria drugs are expensive. Now they go for about 6,500. But let's leave it at that. Let's go to the next one. Clothing. Clothing is another aspect of life. And all of this is based on your cap, which happens to be your minimum wage. So for clothing, which I'm also going to put on the screen, we're just going to put clothing, let's say clothing, let's also put 20,000 Naira for clothing, okay? Haven't checked on healthcare, which will also put healthcare at 20,000 Naira, all right? And there you have it, clothing 20,000. Don't forget, if you add these two, that's 40,000, minus 40,000 from 70,000. We've even not added the others, and you see what you're going to have. Now, what about shelter? In case you do not know, for those who actually live in Lagos, you would agree with me that the cost of living, especially for accommodation, has indeed skyrocketed. Landlords are increasing house rents like drinking water. So it pretty much seems like the landlords are telling you now that if you must live in my house, you have to pay extra. So a boys' quarter of a flat that used to go for a one room that used to go for possibly, let's say, 150,000 Naira. I don't know if there's any in Lagos like that though, but it now goes for 300,000 Naira. So it's like times 2 or times 1 of the bill. And you also have people who pay annually for rent. If you stay in a 2-bedroom flat, it used to go for 800 Naira, 900 Naira, but now it goes for about 1.7 million Naira. But let's put the savings to it. Let's say you save 30,000 Naira for shelter every month. That's what you save. If you want to say in a face me, I face you, we do hear some collect 30,000 Naira now monthly. Multiply that by 12 and use your calculator. You'll be spending nothing less than 360,000 Naira in a year. That's what you're spending. So look at that on the screen again as we put that on the screen for you to see. We've not even mentioned special personal effects and so on. So let's go to personal effects, which is number 6. Personal effects has to do with, you know, your basic, the things you need, your perfume, your accessories, and so on and so forth. You're just going to peg that at 40,000 Naira. Well, you wonder why people, you know, these days don't buy roll-ons and, you know, antiperspirants, because it's now expensive as well. But let's peg that as well at 40,000 Naira, okay? So we've done that. Take a look at that. You see what the cost is saying. So having done that, let's go to the last one, the very last one, savings. How much can you save from 70,000 Naira minimum wage? How much? Well, if you look there on the screen, we put 0.00 Naira because it seems to be very impossible for you to save anything. Now, what's the total if you put all of these figures together, and how much is a Nigerian going to spend every month just to take care of himself? Let me run it quickly by you one more time. Transportation, you're looking at 30,000 Naira monthly. Food, 56,000 Naira. Healthcare, we pegged it at 20,000 Naira. Clothing, 20,000 Naira. Even though you'd agree with me, what can 20,000 Naira get you in the market in terms of clothing? Not forgetting shelter, 30,000 Naira if you're staying in a one-room apartment, what we usually call face me, I face you. You see it for 30,000 Naira. You also have personal effects, the things you need to take care of yourself. Let's put it at 40,000 Naira. And then savings, we have no figure for that. But what does it come to in total? Well, in total, if you have it on the screen as well, it's going to be 206,000 Naira. That's what you need. As we go to the drawing board, that's what we're doing this morning. 206,000 Naira is actually what you need to take care of yourself every month if you're a civil servant and if you are on a budget. Let me bring in Osarige here as we look at this very carefully. Don't forget that the minimum wage we're talking about here is actually 70,000 Naira. Lagos State says it's going to pay 100,000 Naira. So if I'm going to take away 100,000 Naira from 206,000 Naira, I'm going to have roughly 106,000 Naira is what I'm going to spend monthly. Is this sustainable in today's economy? And it's mind-boggling, Osarige, looking at the numbers. That's just one person. Aha.
And that's why you see, you know, the number, there's an increasing number of children in traffic in Lagos these days, you know, cleaning windshields and looking for, you know, anything to eat.
Yeah.
When they gather, they are no longer in groups of 2 or 3. They're now in groups of, you know, 12 and 15 and 20 of them, you know, along the streets in Lagos. because home is no longer able to feed them. And so a lot of them then have to go out and fend for themselves. You know, the man who initially used to be able to survive and, you know, feed his family with this same 70,000 naira a month, you know, now has to make 200,000 to feed that same family, you know, just on the average. He needs to find other ways to make it work. You know, he needs to reduce his normal 2 meals a day that he used to eat, you know, to just once, you know, eat in the afternoon and go home. So there's just so much adjustment that has had to happen, and it's very, very difficult. A lot of things here you cannot deal without. The healthcare that you mentioned, that a person, I mean, maybe not every month to spend 20,000, but you know, every now and then, you know, you might need to, you know, pay for medication. What we now find is that people can no longer go to trusted medical pharmacies to buy medication. So they go to the market and meet the local, you know, those ones that are selling very likely fake medication. There's that mixture.
Then the mixture
They're the ones that are selling Panadol, paracetamol for you, but it's very likely chalk. Because that's what they can afford. They cannot go to a random pharmacy and buy medication, malaria medication as well, or any other thing. So it's just, it's crazy, you know, but it's people's reality, and it's just unfortunate.
That's fact. That's the fact, and that's what we've done this morning. We've looked at the drawing board. We will be doing this regularly to actually break down the situation of things that we are actually dealing with, especially in today's economy. So if you earn a minimum wage of 70,000 naira, I wish you had a bell. I would have, you know, possibly rang a bell for you to say you are trying, because this is every single thing you have to go through every single month, every single day. No wonder people do 001. They don't eat in the morning or afternoon, just at night, so they can meet up all of these expenses and more. There's more. We didn't add a lot here. If you have a girlfriend, if you have a babe somewhere, you have to also take care of her. And like Osarage also added...
That's luxury. She has to go fend for herself at this point.
Know. She needs to fend for herself, right? Girlfriends, you understand what the men are going through, right? Yeah, that's it. Anyway, that's all on Breakfast Central for today on a Thursday, and that's all on the drawing board. We had to go back to the drawing board. Hopefully, we'll clean it up. My name is Hanson. Thanks for watching.